Hey guys, so in this video we're going to talk about Epic's recent AMA on the Competitive Fortnite subreddit. An AMA is like a question and answer session, but instead it stands for Ask Me Anything. Epic basically answered a bunch of questions that Redditors from the competitive community asked. They responded to questions on everything from the possibility of adding an FOV slider, to separate loot pools for arena and pubs, to even removing the shotgun delay that's still in the game. I'll leave a link in the description to the entire AMA that was posted to Reddit. I'm going to mainly cover the big points that Epic discussed, and then talk about what I think of it and what it means for the future of competitive Fortnite and Fortnite overall. I'll also put timestamps on the screen now if you want to skip around, but definitely watch the whole thing through to get a complete picture on Epic's competitive outlook. So let's start with arguably the biggest and most disappointing part of the AMA, whether or not Epic would reconsider adding an FOV slider. Word for word, Epic answered by saying, "We have no plans to implement an FOV slider. One of our major goals for competitive Fortnite is to support players in their journey to be able to become stars and build their own audiences around awesome performances and personas. Part of that goal means listening to the desires of their viewers and stepping in when necessary. In this case, players were indicating that they felt required to play with stretch resolution or increased FOV in order to remain competitive, and fans said that it was a negative experience to watch. We also don't have any plans to adjust the current default FOV. As stated in our previous communication on the topic, it's ultimately a trade-off of a series of goals, and we're happy with where it's at currently. Obviously, this is sad to hear. An FOV slider, for those of you who don't know, would allow everyone to choose their field of view, or FOV. When we all used to be able to play with stretch resolutions, you gained vertical FOV and could see more around you. I bet a majority of you guys use some sort of stretch resolution because compared to native res, which is what we're all stuck on now, it made building and really just overall gameplay much better. Epic is saying that they don't want to add an FOV slider because of stretch resolutions. They literally use higher FOV and stretch res interchangeably in their answer, as if they're the same thing. Hello, Epic? I guess they're not a fan of my videos, because if they were, they'd understand that stretch res is completely different than an FOV slider. Stretch res is ugly, yes, and stretch res did give you a higher FOV, but an FOV slider wouldn't change your resolution. Everyone would still play on native res, but they would gain FOV, so their character would be more zoomed out and they would see more around them without having to look up or down. A fan's viewing experience would not be degraded with an FOV slider. It would be better because they would actually be able to see who killed their favorite streamer. When people are locked onto 80 FOV, you can't even see your own toes. What bugs me is that nobody was ever forced to play stretch resolutions. That was a choice. Currently, we're all forced to play on the default 80 FOV, so why not please everyone and let us all choose what FOV we want to play on? Epic has all the technology they need to implement it and to make it work. We've seen all the millions of FOV glitches that come out every other week, yet Epic still stands behind its moronic reasoning that it will give Little Timmy motion sickness. Any hope for an FOV slider is pretty much gone, boys, and it's apparent stretch resolutions will never return. I've said it before and I'll say it again, Epic just doesn't want to allow players to customize their games because they think it's unfair that Little Timmy on his Nintendo Switch will have a different game than someone on PC. If Epic gives PC players an FOV slider, they think it'll upset console and mobile and Switch players because they can't use the same FOV as their favorite streamers. Epic wants everyone to feel equal, which in turn means that the game has to be as uncompetitive as possible. I understand why they're doing this. Of course, you want to cater to everyone. That means more V-Bucks for Epic. Epic wants Little Timmy to feel like he has a chance to win the World Cup, when in reality, that will never happen if he's on a Nintendo Switch or a console. But it doesn't matter, Epic's only concern is making money and boosting profits. Competitive integrity is an afterthought. They couldn't give less of a crap about having top players compete at the highest level, and why should they with all the money that they're making? I'd just love to see both the casual and competitive player base be happy here, and for Fortnite to become an actual esport. I guess we'll need to wait for Apex to become relevant and popular again though. The other big answer that Epic gave was in regards to separate loot pools for arena and public matches. If you guys have played arena yourselves, you probably had a hard time recently finding shotguns or basically any good guns at all. It's because the loot pool is utter garbage right now. There's just way too many useless weapons, and on top of that, all the good weapons like combat shotguns barely spawn. There are literally 5 snipers in the game, yet Epic vaulted the silenced SMG, probably the most balanced and fair gun in the game, all because they added the burst SMG and they didn't want too many SMGs in the game. game. If Epic wants Arena to be competitive, there should only be core and balanced weapons added, no boom bows or semi-auto snipers. I think it's clear that Arena and pubs should have separate loot pools. Epic's response to whether they plan on separating the loot pools was this: not at the present time. Having the same core battle royale game played by players of all skill levels is healthy for the overall state of the game and keeps competitions open, approachable, and for both players and viewers. We aim at one game, however, we occasionally make exceptions such as Siphon, but our threshold for branching core gameplay is very high. It's up to us to find new directions for balance that reward players at every skill level while not creating negative experiences for different groups. Even as Epic focuses on competitions where all are welcome to play in familiar ways, we'll also be continuing to add tools that will allow players to customize their experience to fit their personal preferences and the way they would most like to play. Apparently, Epic thinks casual viewers would be confused with different loot pools in Arena and pubs, even though Arena is already completely different than pubs. In Arena, there are points for kills and placements, Siphon and mats per kills exist, and most importantly, gameplay in Arena and pubs are completely different. You will never have 30 people end games in public matches, no matter how many games you play. That will just never happen. Nothing is on the line in pubs, so nobody plays for endgame. In Arena though, people want points to get into Champion Division and to hopefully try and place and win money in the World Cup qualifiers. So why can't there be separate loot pools? The game modes are completely different as it stands, so why not make it competitive and better for casual and competitive players who play Arena? The funniest part of their answer to me is how they ended off.
We'll also be continuing to add tools that will allow players to customize their experience to fit their personal preferences and the way they would most like to play the game.
What? That's a complete BS lie. If you were adding tools that would allow players to customize their experience, you would have already added an FOV slider or brought back stretch resolutions. That is literally how you customize a player's experience to fit their personal preferences. It's insane to me that Epic doesn't see how contradictory and comical that statement is. Please, Epic, stop acting like you're going to make Fortnite more competitive. If you're not going to add an FOV slider or separate loot pools for Arena, you just don't care. But don't act like you care and lead us all on by saying stuff like this. The one answer I was looking forward to was about the shotgun delay. The shotgun delay was added to Fortnite back in Season 4, I believe. This was back in the glory days of Fortnite when double pump was a thing. I will admit, double pump was overpowered, but instead of actually fixing the problem at its root, Epic added the pump delay as a workaround. If you guys played back before pump delay was a thing, the game felt so smooth without it. You could quickly edit and then blast people in the face with your shotgun. Now, if you were to try to make a quick outplay, it just feels clunky and there's a good chance you'll be the one who gets killed because you had to wait to shoot. But let's remember, it's now Season 9 and the pump has been removed. There literally can't be double pumping anymore in the game even if shotgun delay was removed because there's no pumps, so why is it still in the game? Epic answered by saying this: we're going to look into possible tuning iterations here. The main thing we want to keep in mind is that the pump shotgun is still available in creative and always has the potential to be unvaulted, so we want to make sure that any adjustments take its unique characteristics into consideration. Notice in their answer here that Epic doesn't give an actual reason because they know they don't have one. There's absolutely no reason to have the shotgun delay in the game anymore, yet it still exists and Epic says they're looking at tuning it. So no specifics or actual explanations. The biggest problem with this response is that they bring up the fact that double pumping is in creative. This is a competitive AMA. The goal is to answer questions and give reasoning for changes to competitive Fortnite. It's mind-blowing that they actually say that double pumping in creative is a factor in removing the pump delay. I'm actually dumbfounded reading that right now. They did add the little parentheses that says that the pump has the potential to be unvaulted in the future, which is good because the game just feels bad without the pump. But if the pump isn't in the game, then remove the pump delay. It's that simple. The rest of the AMA was just as disappointing, but could basically be summed up by their response to the pump delay. We are looking into it. I'm not even sure why Epic called it an AMA in the first place when they either answered no or just didn't answer the question at all. And that's not even a joke. The two most upvoted questions on the AMA thread weren't answered. There were some good things that came out of the AMA though. Epic said they have plans for trios and squads in competitive, which will be sick to watch. If they can figure out how to not get the entire server to crash in competitive squads, this will be insanely fun to watch and to play. Imagine how crazy it will be watching a full FaZe squad play against TSM and 100 Thieves. I think squads and trios are much more skillful and competitive than duos and especially solos, so I'm really excited for this. Epic also talked about making console and PC specific tournaments in the future, which would be cool to see. Now all you console gods can pop off and win some money without having to play against people with 240 FPS and a keyboard and mouse. Lastly, Epic mentioned nerfing the boom bow, fixing customs and the replay system, changes to the arena mode point system, and possibly disabling vehicles after the 5th zone. Overall, though, this was exactly what I expected. I'm not sure why we all keep getting our hopes up for the competitive scene in Fortnite. It's obvious Epic doesn't care about competitive integrity or making the game competitive. Competitive Fortnite is a marketing scheme that Epic will keep funneling money into, and the sad part is we'll keep playing and thinking it will get better. There was some stuff that I didn't discuss within the AMA, so go check out the entire post on Reddit. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown and analysis though, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Thank you to everyone using code Jarian. The Ducky12 mini giveaway is still ongoing. It ends in a few weeks, so make sure you guys enter. All the details will be on my Twitter. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.